What's up, guys? Welcome to Box to Box Football, and we're back here with a special edition. And yesterday, Gareth Southgate finally released his England team that will be going to the Euros. He started off with a 33-man team, and now we're down to the official 26 that will be going to the Euros to hopefully bring it home for England. Wink, wink. Also, Jack. First of all, I can see we're both going for the black look today. Black. We're going for the black shirt look. So,
Yeah, for sure.
26 has been revealed. Jack, do you want to just kind of name just a few shock mentions, or maybe people that you were surprised got in, or people who
Yeah, I
didn't
mean,
get in?
so I guess what I'll do is kind of I'll go goalkeepers first. So Dean Henderson, Sam Johnston, Jordan Pickford. I think the general consensus is that Jordan Pickford will be our starter. I'm sure there are people in the Dean Henderson camp. The shock, quote unquote, shock there is Nick Pope missing out. Obviously a shame for him, but James, as you and I have discussed before, takes a different type of goalkeeper to play when you have the ball more and you're going to face less shots. Going to need to use your feet a little bit more. So that's probably why Nick Pope has missed out. I'd have liked to see Aaron Ramsdale go as the third string goalkeeper instead of Sam Johnston, but that's me being super picky. Moving on to defenders, obviously the big shock was the four right backs going. And, guys, let's be clear. These are not four specialist right backs. You have guys in there who can play wing back, right centre back, maybe even left back. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, Kieran Trippier, and Kyle Walker. Ben Chilwell, Connor Cody, Harry Maguire, Tyrone Mings, Luke Shaw, and John Stones, just to finish out the defenders. For me, and obviously James, feel free to jump in here at any point if you've got any comments on these guys. But I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka as a sub, for me, I know I'm probably in a tiny minority of people who would think this way, but that's the best defensive fullback in the world. And you're telling me you wouldn't want him as a sub to play maybe even right centre back or right wing back to shut somebody down when you're winning a game? That's just me. Obviously, a shame for White and Godfrey to miss out, but I don't think their time has come yet. Midfielders: Jude Bellingham, Jordan Henderson, Mason Mount, Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice. The one main one there for me, I would go James Ward-Prowse over Calvin Phillips personally, but apart from that, I don't think there can be much of an issue with any of those names. And then moving on to forwards, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, Jadon Sancho, and Raheem Sterling. So again, with that one, I would have loved to see Ollie Watkins go. I think his relationship with Jack Grealish could have potentially been something special, and I think he would have provided good value. But of course, some of the names who were quote unquote lucky to be involved within that group there, maybe Calvert-Lewin, maybe Saka, maybe Foden, maybe even Rashford, actually. You'd say that, to be fair, there's not too much to argue with there. And, especially James, you know this very well. Bukayo Saka's listed here as a forward, but that man can play anywhere on the field.
And so yeah, it's for me, he's a player that should have gone based on the fact of his performances this season. But yeah, I think the very easy thing to do is to sit here for 25 minutes and discuss to you on who Gareth Southgate got wrong and what team and all that sort of stuff. It's done. It's been done a bunch of times. We've done it. I've heard like about 100 people react to it. I'm gonna flip it. I want to do something
I can't
different.
believe there's no Lingard, James. I can't believe there's no Lingard.
He's right. I actually can't believe that there's no Lingard because they had 26. But I'm gonna flip it a bit. So England in the past few Euros hasn't been that great. The last great Euro team for England was, to me, Euro 2004. Before after that, 2008, you didn't qualify to 2012. You got outplayed by Pirlo in 2016. England fans don't really want to talk about that. Iceland.
No, thanks.
The last great England team to go to Euros was 2004, and unfortunate you lost on penalties to Portugal, who were the host that year and went on to get to the final, lost 1-0 to Greece. But I've decided to almost change it a little bit. Instead of just reacting to the team, I want to put England's best 11 against the 2004 best 11, who was considered arguably one of England's greatest teams based on player-wise, and go head-to-head to see how strong is this Gareth Southgate England team right now going into the Euros. I get it. The overall squad is great, but let's see how strong the starting 11 is. Now I'm going to pick the England team that went against France and Croatia, and that was a team that kind of played for the majority of the time for the 2004 team. And we're going to use Gareth Southgate's last two England teams against what was it, Poland and Andorra, where
yeah.
Andorra when he played a 4-3-3. The only thing that we're going to replace from that is the goalkeeper. We'll talk about that as we go, and probably Kevin Phillips, who I don't think is going to get a starting lineup place in like in the England team. But we're happy that he actually got into the squad. But Jack, let's get into it. So guys, we're going to get started right now with the team, and we're going to start off as goalkeeper, as we always should do. First of all, we've decided on a 4-3-3. I think that's where probably England's going to play. I do understand the England 2014 played a 4-4-2, which is a little bit different, but we're going to move players around here or there. We're going to start off with the goalkeeper. Now, England's goalkeeper for the Euros in 2004 was David James, and we're not sure who England are going to pick for this year's Euros, but I think we can go for Jordan Pickford. Yeah, Jack, are you happy to go for Jordan Pickford?
What, over David James?
No, as in the England goalkeeper that's going to represent us.
Yes. I think that as far as Gareth Southgate is concerned, I think that he's never let England down. And, regardless of his performances for Everton this year, as long as he never really lets England down, I think that he's going to have Gareth Southgate's trust.
The one thing the Wigan guys going to try and do here is to, let's say, we're going to pick the players based on what they've done before that year. So we're not going to look at the England players, especially 2004, not all time. So what Paul Scholes and these guys have done all time, it doesn't, of course, we have all England players we have all 2004 England players in there. We're going to pick on what they've done at that time of 2004. So there are going to be a few shocks here, like here or there. Some players end up having a great career after that 2004. So you guys may be a little bit shocked here, but we got Jordan Pickford against David James. Jack, I get it that I think David James had a better career afterwards, but I still think at that time David James was still a better goalkeeper than all four of England's goalkeepers now.
I think you're probably right. I mean, this is, at this point in time, I would argue that this is our weakest position group right now.
I totally agree with you.
To be one of England's strongest, actually. There were points. I remember the Joe Hart, Jack Butland, Jordan Pickford timeline.
Even when you had Ben Foster, Robert Green, Joe Hart. Ben Foster, Robert Green, David James. So many strong goalkeepers who are starting week in, week out for teams. And now it's not as strong. So I definitely
that's kind of an easy one. I feel like that's kind of an easy one. Yeah.
So let's move on to right back. So right back we have, for England 2014, we have Gary Neville, and he'll be going against... Now, England have 4 fullbacks to pick from here. And you got Trent Alexander-Arnold, you got Kyle Walker, you got Kieran Trippier, and you also have... who's last one? Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, I think Gary Neville is a great fullback, but at that time especially, I do believe that all England's 4 centre-backs, I would probably pick ahead of him. The only one that maybe might not get ahead of him is Kieran Trippier, but I would still pick the rest of the 3 ahead of Gary.
But James, even then, Kieran Trippier has had a phenomenal year for Atletico Madrid. Obviously, he missed some time because of his gambling thing. I think the thing with Gary Neville was always a football player who played with his heart and tried to play with his head as opposed to playing with actual ability and skill. And that's not to overly dismiss Gary Neville as a player, because I know he's one of the best to ever do it, so to speak. But if we're talking about kind of talent, I tend to agree with you, especially in 2004. I'm not so sure Gary Neville is going to be above any of those guys.
But Jack, so we have 3 fullbacks? So you say 4 young England fullbacks to pick from the 2001 team. What fullback are we picking from there? Kyle Walker, Trent, Reece James, Kieran?
You know what? When we did the video saying who should go to the Euros, I was against taking Reece James, and I wanted to take Wan-Bissaka for my little substitute idea that I had. Reece James has really won me over recently. He really has. He looked pretty unfazed by the Champions League final, and I hope he can bring that same energy to this team, and hopefully he'll be playing at right wing back just ahead of Kyle Walker. So I'm kind of happier to go with Reece James here.
Reece James? I would have went for Kyle Walker.
Okay. I'm happy to.
I just think Kyle Walker has represented England more, and I feel like he is, out of all the players, he's most obliged to start for England. Especially, he can do so many different roles for England.
I mean, I agree. I still feel like they'll both start. I feel like Kyle Walker will play right centre back personally, but I know that in this formation we're doing a back four, so I'm happy to put Kyle Walker in there.
So let's move on to the two centre backs. So we got John Stones and Harry Maguire against Sol Campbell and John Terry. Now, at that time, especially around 2004, the best centre back out of all them four was Sol Campbell, and Sol Campbell without a doubt gets into it. It's not just my Arsenal love for Sol Campbell. Right. He was generally, out of all them at that time, the best centre back. John Terry only began to really start flourishing as the top centre back we know him as today in 2005 when like Mourinho came in. Especially, he was known as a good centre back before then, but he didn't really have that much of a clout. When
you only concede 15 goals in a season and you're one of the starting centre backs, you're going to get some credit from 2005 onwards.
Listen, he was immense.
Right.
Can we have any shout for Harry Maguire or John Stones ahead of John Terry?
If we're talking about 2004 John Terry, I think Harry Maguire right now is a better centre back than John Terry was in 2004. The guy gets totally ridiculed, for the price tag, which remember he had no control over. Manchester United finished second this year. Okay, lost in the Europa League final, but the difference between a Manchester United team with him in it and out of it as well, and I'm sure it would go the exact same way for England with him in it and without it. I would probably take Harry Maguire of 2021 over John Terry 2004.
Now, listen, fans, guys, hear us, me, and Jack out here. I would have went for John Terry, but I can listen to Harry Maguire, and I think we should show a bit of love to this current crop of players. Right. John Terry, the next season after, became arguably the best centre back in the world, unplayable, incredible, and the rest of his career was outstanding. Before that, he didn't win a league. He didn't really do as much. So Harry Maguire, let's go for that. This one will take a lot of criticism, but
let's not get this twisted. If James and I were doing a tier list of Premier League centre backs all time, John Terry would be at the top of that list.
Probably number one.
Right, and Maguire would be, Maguire would not be close. Even come the end of his career, you'd say he might not even be close. But as of 2021, Maguire, 2004 Terry, I'd probably go with Maguire.
Let's look at Luke Shaw. Also, where's Rio Ferdinand? I need to find where the hell.
Yes.
Actually, did he not have the drugs banned?
Yeah, or was he not injured? Maybe.
I don't know, but if Rio was there, Rio gets him.
Rio would go in above Harry Maguire, I'll tell you that.
Rio going before Sol Campbell. So we have Luke Shaw and Ben Chilwell against Ashley Cole. Now, I think Luke Shaw and Ben Chilwell, Jack, is a 50-50 on who Gareth Southgate is going to choose there. But even if you want to put either one of them, they're not getting ahead of Ashley Cole. Even look at what Ashley Cole was able to do with that Euros. I understand he was a young Cristiano Ronaldo, but go watch his performance against Cristiano Ronaldo in that Euros. Stunning. Ashley Cole, he was invincible that year too. Yeah, just
one of the best fullbacks we've ever seen. One of the best fullbacks the country has ever produced, if not the best left back the country has ever produced. So that's an easy one.
So we're gonna flip it here. So we're gonna go for three in the middle. So we're gonna use England three in the middle. I'm gonna flip it. Paul Scholes played on the left, in that England team, which I did not understand. Out of all the players, Steven Gerrard was probably more obliged to play on the left. Out of all the three midfielders of Frank, Paul Scholes, and Steven, but I'm gonna bring Paul into the middle, and he's gonna compete against the three we have. The sitting player out of the three, who should we have sitting, Jack?
I think probably Declan Rice.
Yes.
Because we're never going to have Declan Rice play any further forward than that kind of holding role. I wouldn't say so.
So let's have Declan Rice against Steven Gerrard.
Here's the thing. It's difficult to put yourself back to 2004.
It is difficult.
I was not even, I'd either just turned or hadn't even turned yet 10 years old. So it's hard for me to kind of put myself in that position. But I know this is Gerrard pre-Champions League, and I know that he kind of really had his success afterwards.
Yeah, but Jack, 2003, 2004, England, first of all, Liverpool won like the treble in 2020, the fake treble people call it, in 2001. He got given the captain's armband in 2004. and was Jack. He was you could see the trajectory. He was one of the best players in the Premier League, PFA player, young player of the year. He's putting in the PFA team season in like season now. Declan Rice, I think he's a very good player, and probably for the position suits the position a little bit, but a little bit more than Steven. But
that's not this list. Yeah,
but you put Steven Gerrard in there every stretch of the way. Now, this one is going to get people a bit riled right now.
Yeah,
Mason Mount against Frank Lampard. Now, Jack.
Chelsea fans, comment section, go.
Chelsea fans, I want you to go off right now. But Frank Lampard, when Mourinho came especially, we really got to see the great Frank Lampard. But before then, it wasn't outstanding stuff. What he joined Chelsea from West Ham, and yes, was a good player then, but seasons after, especially to 2005 onwards, you've seen a great level of Frank Lampard.
Right.
Frank Lampard 2004 against a Mason Mount right now, Champions League finalist, probably at the top of his game. I'm going for Mason Mount, Jack.
James, I am too. You know, you and I both talked about that assist. You know, the weight on that ball is special. He's an all-round team player, Chelsea's Player of the Year. Like you said, Champions League, top 4 finish. Finalists in the FA Cup. There's not a lot of bad things you can say about Mason Mount this year. Yes, everybody listening, we do think Frank Lampard is all-time a better player than Mason Mount.
That's not even close. But we're going on, because if we're doing all-time, this would just be filled of the 2004 team. But let's go Frank Lampard. Yes, we have one more.
Yeah, within this criteria, it's Mount, and I feel okay with that, James. To be honest with you, I really do.
Me too. And Mason Mount gets so much criticism for he's just favoured by a lot of managers, but the guy has a lot of quality, and he's won me over big time. He is generally, like, this year Chelsea's Player of the Year. People need to put some respect on this guy's name, and I fully expect this guy to be in the England starting 11, no matter what formation he uses.
Right.
Now, we have one more spot there. It's going to be Paul Scholes and against... Who do you want to bring? What? Jordan Henderson? Kevin Phillips?
I feel more comfortable with Jordan Henderson than I would Calvin Phillips, because we know that a fully fit Jordan Henderson would start every day of the week. So I do think it is Henderson against Scholes, I would probably say.
I mean, that's not really a question to me. Yeah. Paul Scholes in there.
Not really.
I don't really. Even Paul at that time was still outstanding. You know.
I feel like if this was, a year, 18 months ago, Jordan Henderson, we might have to go, well, look, Paul Scholes, okay, he was part of a great team, but this wasn't the back-to-back Man United team.
No, but Jack, people would argue that the best Paul Scholes came around 2000 to 2004. Like 2004 5. So even then, it's like, listen, I don't think it was ever really a contest, whoever they put next to him, because Paul was always in the prime of his career. Now we're gonna flip it on to let's go for the right-hand side.
Right, yeah.
Right-hand side. So we have David Beckham against what we assume to be Raheem Sterling. But it could be Phil Foden. Okay, let's just stick with. Okay, let's stick with Raheem Sterling for now.
I feel like regardless of who it is, I think we're gonna pick David Beckham. Wasn't this first or second year at Real Madrid, David Beckham?
Yes, this was already leading England to 2002. Scoring that amazing free kick was good in that World Cup. I think was second or third in the Ballon d'Or voting in 1999. Just like, I do understand that from the point of view of Beckham at that time it wasn't really that close.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on any right winger that is in the England squad right now. I think Jadon Sancho would be the closest competitor to him. I think Raheem Sterling has largely been overrated this year.
But Jack, I feel like as a career, I don't think it's that much of a mismatch. I don't. No,
just at that time period, I would say, yeah.
So let's move on to the other side, and we have Wayne Rooney against Phil Foden. Now, I think Foden will start, because if he doesn't start, we know what's going to happen. There's going to be pitchforks in olives around Gareth Southgate's house. So Phil Foden will start. I do understand it's a bit unbalanced here. People are like, oh, you can't put Rooney there, but we have to. Rooney was probably Rooney could do a bit of everything, and he was everywhere on that pitch against Euros. Probably the best Rooney has ever played for England at that time.
Right.
Now, both youngsters, both at the top of their game or around that time. Phil Foden's coming off a Champions League final, winning winning the league with England, and just right now he's probably going to even win the Golden Boy. To be fair,
I do.
My only thing with this is that Phil Foden is great, but he's going against a monster kid in Wayne Rooney, and as I said, Wayne Rooney's generally one of the greatest teenagers I've ever seen, without a doubt.
Yeah, and I think the big kind of discrepancy here in opinion is stylistically there is no comparison. Wayne Rooney is punch you in the throat. I'm going to score a goal. I'm going to make a tackle. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to win. And Phil Foden is that kind of silky, well-educated in terms of football sense. With obviously under tutelage of Pep, and you kind of pick your poison. I would probably go Wayne Rooney, but I think Foden has had a good year. I don't know if it's been.
I think Foden has had a good year, but if I was picking players, I'm sorry, Wayne Rooney's just heading. Wayne Rooney was frightening. But also, I just want to talk about a few England players here. Jack Grealish, I know he's been out injured the majority of this season, but could he have a chance of getting an England place, Jack? A starting lineup spot.
That's what I would personally like to see. Because I think somebody like Jack Grealish, even somebody like maybe even a Jadon Sancho or a Phil Foden on the other side, to allow the fullbacks to push on. What I don't want is a bunch of ball players and then the only width being provided by our wing backs. So for me, Jack Grealish, we know that he loves to draw a foul, even though I think so in Europe, I believe he is 7th or 8th in drawing fouls. Mm-hmm. And you think, oh, well, that's not that good. But then think about the amount of games he missed. Those are some serious numbers. So I'd like to see Jack Grealish play, but I don't know if that's the way that Gareth's going to go. I don't know if Gareth Southgate trusts him yet for England.
Yeah, I feel like one thing with England that I like to see is that the amount of wingers that they're blessed with. Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, like so many top players in there. So that's something that he can definitely,
right.
So that's something that he can definitely look at, like, for the Euros. But let's look at the final spot. We got Harry Kane against Michael Owen. Now this, Jack, if we're being honest, this is a tough one. Because Michael Owen was Michael Owen. Michael Owen was Michael Owen around them times.
Right.
Especially Ballon d'Or 3 years ago. It's difficult. It's very, very difficult. But Jack, I still think Harry Kane was a better striker than Michael Owen.
I agree with you, and unfortunately, you and I can't be totally blind to what happened to Michael Owen after this time period, right? Which was he never really saw the heights, he never really fulfilled his potential, had injuries, and unfortunately, we've just seen Harry Kane pick up the Golden Boot and top assist maker awards in the same season. Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, I like Michael Owen. I liked him at his peak, but 2004 was not Michael Owen at his peak.
Michael Owen, even earlier than that, maybe even 2002, 2001 especially, was at his absolute height. Like, we're talking about great teenagers. You talk about what England have right now with like Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham. Michael Owen as a teenager was, oh my days, Jack. Wayne, like, goodness gracious me. But as I said, Harry Kane, if everything goes right with him and he can maybe get some move or something like that, we're looking at an all-time, arguably England's greatest striker. That's like that's the type of caliber we're looking at here. If he has a big tournament, England have a massive chance of winning this this trophy without a shadow of a doubt. Won the Golden Boot in the last World Cup. I know it wasn't the greatest display from him overall, but I'm happy to put that in there.
No, me too. And I think the main thing, James, is we're looking at a guy who we know can score goals for fun, right? Mm-hmm. But obviously he's also bringing that aspect of his game where he is coming deeper, he is helping out other people, and that's where I think that if I'm Gareth Southgate, I'm taking into account that Harry Kane won the award for most assists in the Premier League, and that didn't happen by accident. These weren't deflections that then ended up in the right positions. So I would personally, if I was him, play two more attacking wingers so that Kane can then support.
Now, Jack, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. So first of all, let's just sum it up right now. I thought we have 7 England players from 2004 team and 4 of the. Let me just make sure. Yeah, we have 4 England players from the 2000 from the current crop right now. And to be fair, I think it's not bad because at least it's not 11 straight for the 2004 team, especially with the memory we have of them.
Right.
But one more
Right.
position that I want to talk about: Gareth Southgate or Sven-Göran Eriksson. Quick one, Jack.
That's Gareth Southgate. Like that's.
I don't know. England don't have a lot of love for Spen. What's going on? What does Spen do wrong?
I don't feel like England have had a good manager for a long time. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the guys we've had, but the couple of guys I've always wanted are of the highest caliber, and that's Jose Mourinho and Arsene Wenger. Like those two are the main guys. And I know that's me being naive and being a kid, but I remember thinking like, these guys love England. These guys love England, and they're loved in England. Like, why can't the FA get something together to offer these guys the job? They know the league, they know most of the players. Like, come on. But we've been stuck with Sven-Göran Eriksson, Fabio Capello, Terry.
Also, the one thing about being an England manager is that if once you fail, you're scarred as a bad manager for life. Fabio Capello's one of the greatest managers of all time. If you love Fabio Capello, come on.
I know,
listen,
dude. I know. Roy Hodgson, Steve McLaren. Like, the list goes on. It's not pretty.
There's some tough ones in there, but just a quick summary of Jack, what you just think about the squad overall, and especially going into the Euros. You confident going into the Euros, Jack?
Well, first of all, James, I love this idea. I think this does provide something a little different, and obviously it opens up some good conversations, hopefully in the comments. So anybody watching, do give us a shout. Obviously, anything you disagree with, there are some questionable ones in there. I'll say that. Looking at the squad, I have some minor criticisms. I'd like Aaron Wan-Bissaka to be there over one of the right fullbacks. I think that's fair to say. I don't know who it would be. You're going to have to sacrifice somebody good, but I'd like to have seen that, because I think that if you have the best at anything in your squad and you leave them out, then you're always going to come under criticism. For me, crosses, corners, free kicks, James Ward-Prowse should go as well over Calvin Phillips. That's another one. Okay, I don't feel crazy strongly about, but something that I do, have an opinion on. And then, finally, somebody like a Calvert-Lewin, a Bukayo Saka, somebody like that. I'd have liked to have seen Ollie Watkins go, personally. I just think it offers something a little bit different. I'm thinking a lot more from a sub point of view. All 3 of those players that I just named, none of them would start. It would just be to give something a little different off the bench. Whereas I feel like, I don't know, Calvin Phillips, I'm not so sure. Having all these wing backs, I'm not so sure. But to answer your question, I think semi-finals should be the minimum expectation, especially with the state of the group. And I really do feel kind of strongly that if we get into the final, there should be a certain level of, hey, nothing to lose. Go out and lose the game 5-0. But as long as you tried, I don't want to see this 0-0 out on penalties, lose by 1 goal type thing. I want us to go for it this time.
So guys, tell me what you think. Do you agree with the team that we have? Do you agree with Gareth Southgate's picks? Can England win the Euros? Let us know, guys. Also, we're going to be coming up with so much content for the Euros. Please stay tuned. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Keep on hitting that. Let's get ourselves to 500. Thanks for watching. This is Box to Box Football. Stay tuned, and we will see you next time.